Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today I'm going to be doing a response video to the Rad 9 1994 video challenge, where I'm going to be talking about my 9 favorite films from 1994. Big shout out to Mel, Justin, and Garrett for putting this out and to the community. This is just such a fantastic response. I've been seeing a lot of people just buzzed about 1994 films. It's one of the best film years, really. And this list that I have in front of me, it might shock some of you, but it also, if you know me, you would understand like where I'm coming from. But regardless, I would love to know what your thoughts are, what your favorite 1994 films are. Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your list, where mine stacks up to it, and vice versa. And also, just wanted to get this out of the way. I have a cold right now, and so I am very medicated. And so if I start going on rants about certain things, it's because of maybe the Mucinex that I have in my system, a lot of dosages of it. So starting off with number 9 is a coming-of-age comedy romance, drama of sorts. I would say coming-of-age romance, probably. It's Reality Bites, and this movie is phenomenal. This movie has gotten up in the ranks for me over the years. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a more of an appreciated time of this, mainly because I had just got out of college not too long ago, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. But regardless, the post that time period, it rings very true to the time that I grew up in, even though I wasn't around at 1994 during this particular spot. So anyway, I'm talking in generalities. This is a great movie with Ben Stiller. That's the third kind of character, where the romantic interest is between Ethan Hawke's character and Winona Ryder's character. And this is just a great, post, we're graduating, what are we going to do next, with a bunch of losers who are all friends, and crazy things ensue, and get a big boy job, and then Ben Stiller comes in. It's a wonderful time. I don't know, it'll make you smile, and it kind of reminds me of the later films of someone like Richard Linklater. Alright, so moving on to number 8 is one of my favorite serial killer films of all time. It's Serial Mom. This movie right here, holy crap, Kathleen Turner is so much fun as a mother who just kind of loses her shit, and honestly, it's a little bit relatable in the most mundane of ways. So we have John Waters coming to this film. I actually have not explored much of John Waters' films. I've watched Pink Flamingos and the like, but I haven't really, in Hairspray, long time ago, right? Long time ago. I need to, change that. But I need to jump into more John Waters films. But Serial Mom is one that I have a really good appreciation for. And it feels like it's like perfect in the time that it came out. I feel like it has a very Edward Scissorhands aspect to it with that John Waters flair. And this movie is just a terrific delight of a crazy suburban hellish nightmare of a place that reminds me of America, right? And this is just a really fun time. But Kathleen Turner she plays this amazing mom who is just really trying to take care of her and her own, and does it in the craziest of ways. I have a really good time where I watched this with my buddy Sam. He was actually the one where I watched it for the first time over in the UK a couple years back, and it was a great memory to have. But this is one of my favorite films of 1994. It's definitely got to be Serial Mom. Alright, so number 7 on my list is a documentary, one that I've talked about a lot of times on the channel. It's Hoop Dreams. This is one of my favorite documentaries of all time. One that is relatively long. It's 172 minutes, so the rewatchability is not as present as it probably should be, but the extras on this disc are fantastic. It's directed by Steve James, Frederick Marks, and Peter Gilbert. This is just a fantastic story about 2 youth in the Chicago area looking up to become the next NBA star, and seeing that home life and the opportunity that it kind of takes you through the journey of somebody who's literally dreaming of hoops. And it's very timely, even of today's standard. Obviously, it's a very specific time and place, especially when the Jordan era was like really starting to become a big thing. But this movie is just really special, and one of those films that honestly got me back into sports. I had not been into sports for a long time, and Hoop Dreams helped kind of put me across that finish line. And I highly recommend this film if you're not seen it before, because it's one of the best out there, and it'll make you want to watch basketball. All right, so number 6 is from a filmmaker that his filmography I really, really love. I'm talking about the Coker Trilogy, and I'm talking specifically about Through the Olive Trees, which is the last film in this trilogy, and one that is the most crazy, of course. And honestly, you need kind of a precedent of the prior two films before you even understand what this third film really means, which is kind of weird to say because there's a lot of meta-ness to what Kiarostami does. But Abbas Kiarostami, he directed these 3 films, and I just recommend this box set in general. It's one of my favorite trilogies ever. But you know, Through the Olive Trees looks at the lens of the prior 2 engagements in a very unique way, but also crossing the boundaries in the fourth wall. Is it real life? Is it documentarian? Where they're filming a film about a couple who are having arguments, and you know, there's just all these other things playing in and around the space and the people involved. It's truly captivating, and honestly, you can see something new each and every time you watch this movie. And like I said, it has a little bit of homework past, before you jump into this film particularly, but this is one that is definitely worth your time, especially if you love the craft of film and filmmaking. This trilogy in general is just like a spectacular time, and Through the Olive Trees may not be my favorite of the 3, but it's definitely up there to being Kiarostami's best. All right, so now we're to the top 5, and the first one I want to bring up is a horror film, probably one of my favorite horror films of all time, and it's one that redefined the genre. It is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This is the 7th film in this franchise. This is a terrible release, by the way. Make a better one. Whoever is out there, listen. But regardless, New Nightmare is fantastic. It kind of did a lot of the stuff that Wes Craven would do in Scream a little bit, and kind of reverse the script on what had been kind of a true and tried, get this slasher that you'd normally just expect, right? But with New Nightmare, you see something very reinventive, and honestly, at that transitional step to Scream, something like this. But New Nightmare was just a fantastic kind of meta-ness in this crazy fandom that is Nightmare on Elm Street, and the people who love this film, and the people who come to make it, like Robert Englund, who plays multiple characters in this film. And then you see all this rampant stuff you'd see from this franchise, where it would kind of get a little bit slapstick and silly, and not really taken so seriously. It's something that, it needed new skin, new blood. And that's where New Nightmare comes in and makes it truly terrifying, but also at the same time really captivating in terms of the storytelling that's taking place, and would lead to a lot of really fantastic things. But New Nightmare is one of the best Nightmare films, and this is the reason why that it's in my list, and at number 5 nonetheless. All right, so moving to number 4 is actually the most recent film that I've actually watched on this list, which is crazy to say that it jumped all the way up to number 4, but this is one of those things where I am entranced into this vision of this film. I'm talking about Adam Egan's Exotica. So I don't want to just do this and trip you all out the entire time. This is in this Artificial Eye Curzon box set that I got when I was overseas in the UK, but this film is also on the Criterion Collection, so if you can pick it up in the States, it's definitely there here and definitely watchable. But I did not expect to love this film as much as I did. It's an erotic thriller that just kind of just enchants you with the music and the sensuous of the directional flair, I suppose, is to steal a word, is exactly what this film is. It's so entrancing and so inviting, but also at the same time is really dangerous. And I am very curious about the rest of this filmmaker's filmography, really. But I know Exotica is its own thing, and definitely considered one of, if not the best film from Adam Egan. So I started off in a really high place here. And so I'm really excited to dive into further films from this director. But Exotica, I'm going to be listening to the soundtrack for days. Like, that's how much I love this soundtrack. So if anyone else loves Exotica as much as I did, I'll go on about it in my film journey, where I talk about it a little bit further. So now we're to the top 3, and the first film is going to be from Wong Kar Wai in this box set right here, The World of Wong Kar Wai, which is an okay box set in terms of the way it's placed. And it's got a checkered past, but it's got Chungking Express in it, and that's one of the best films I've ever seen. And this is actually, I watched it recently on my journey, and I'll talk about that further on my film journal, but I watched it for the second time, and it really clicked this time for me. The first time I watched this movie, I was kind of blown away by all the technical wizardry of this film, because Wong Kar Wai did a lot of really interesting street and almost guerrilla-like camera movements and the way that he framed certain characters and the scenes and the settings they're just super curious to just kind of watch from a distance. I just really love how Wong Kar Wai uses space and physicalness between characters, like, you know, that 0.01, you know, just a second away from somebody, you know, and crossing paths and changing directions of different things. And honestly, it makes you think about fate, and it also makes you think about just the kind of mundaneness of just existing and interacting and communicating with other people. It's a terrific film, and I definitely highly recommend people check it out. Pick up Chungking Express in this box set, or try to watch it on the channel, on Criterion channel. It's a terrific film. You definitely deserve to watch that film. All right, so my number 2 needs no introduction. It's a lot of people's favorite film from this year. It is Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino's probably arguably best film that he's ever done. It has an all-star cast, of course, that a lot of people have talked about ad nauseum on this platform, I'm sure. But wow, just a terrific slice of cake from Americana. And that's exactly what Pulp Fiction is. It's literally dialogue of interesting characters and people in these weird situations that feel very real, but also very out there, right? And so that's why we kind of love this film, rewatching it over and over again, even though the jumbledness of the different characters, you know, it's playful. It's playful in a way, but it's serious in its delivery and makes it, you know, real popcorn-like movie. But anyway, like I said, a lot of people talked about Pulp Fiction. It's an incredible film. If you've not seen it, of course, this is going to be in my number 2, but it actually loses to 2 films, kind of. I'm going to consider it one film, but 2 that came out in the same year, and that's what my number 1 is going to be, is we're going to get to the Three Colors trilogy. So, the Three Colors trilogy, this is the Curzon set right here, Krzysztof Kieslowski's Three Colors trilogy. Blue came out in 1993, but white and red came out in 94. White I like a little bit less than red, so I'm going to have to give red my number 1 pick from 1994. And I felt like I was going to cheat by doing 10 films. So white, you're there, but, you know, we'll talk about you later. Sorry, Carol. But this is a terrific trilogy, first of all. If anyone's unaware, Krzysztof Kieslowski kind of looked at the French flag elements of liberation, equality, and fraternity. And each of those themes are through these films, the blue, white, and red. And red being my favorite, it's the culmination of all the themes that are present in the film. I mean, only slightly, really, but it's about these 2 people who have nothing to do with each other, and they just happen to get, you know, in each other's paths through happenstance of trauma, honestly, and they become friends. And that's where the friendship comes in. And this is a very spiritual film. And a lot of these films in general are, and Kieslowski's films in total, are very, you know, human condition, the spirit of what humanity is. And this is why I love his stuff so much, is it really does speak to me. And each and every time I watch this, I get a little bit something different and a little bit something more unique and special. So it happens to be my number 1 choice for my 1994 picks. Yes, I missed some films like The Lion King or Shawshank Redemption. Those are great films as well, but they're not in my top 9. So anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are on the years. I would love to know your lists. Tell me down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for listening to this terrible voice of mine right now. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, comment down below, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.